SEO is changing fast and we need to adapt. We need to find a way how to get results today, how to grow, how to get sales, and stop thinking with obsolete metrics that we still use it like volume traffic, because in AI search, many things can be changed, because if you pay attention to them, it doesn't, probably you can't get the same result that you got before. So we are going in a new era, probably Geo. Someone can hate it, can tell it's still SEO. Someone can say no, Geo is something new. I'm in the middle. I don't know exactly, but I like to adapt. I like to adapt to whatever happens because it's very important to adapt fast. I'm so excited to discuss a lot more with Jake Handley. How are you?
Good. How are you?
A big pleasure, big pleasure. I wanna learn more about SEO as I usually every single day, about Geo, about AI search. My audience ask a lot of questions about that, so we need to adapt to find a new way how to grow. So, Jake, before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and anything that can help our listeners to learn more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is obviously Jake Hunley. I am the co-owner and CEO of Evergrow Marketing, which is a local, how should I say this? Where we do digital marketing for landscaping and lawn care businesses, specifically in that niche industry. So, we've been doing this for like 7 years. And we have kind of developed kind of the authority within the industry, so much so that if you Google lawn care marketing company, we come up number one. Um, and then what makes us unique, though, is that we strategically position ourselves to acquire a lot of clients on like the same website template. And then, like, when we go to market and one thing works for one landscaper, we can apply that to all of the other landscaping and lawn care clients and then see kind of massive results. But what that also allows us to do is test things in very controlled environments too. So I think last year in March, we published a case study in search engine land about um, how geotagging images for Google business profiles affects SEO.
Mhm.
We were able to isolate those variables, and we found some interesting insights. So,
That's nice. That's nice. I think like many things are different today. So and Jack, I want to ask a bunch of questions, but firstly, I want to satisfy my audience because I get questions from them.
mhm.
And today, local SEO, I think like it's different from SEO methods, user intent, paying attention to specific audience. Can you tell more about adaptation today? What actually you do today? I mean, like, what can become obsolete or can bring low impact, and where we need to pay more attention today?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think what often gets overlooked a lot, especially in local SEO, is just like page titles and H1s, like making sure that they're not only targeting the service that you're trying to go after, but also geo modifying those to make sure it's targeting the prime area that in local services that you want to be targeting. I think people often they get mixed up in all these nuances where it's like I need local links or I need, which I'll get into in a second, or like I need to mark the site up with schema, or I need to do all of these other like um not very impactful things, maybe like Google business profile posts, like adding those to the Google business profile. Those just aren't as impactful if you don't have your H1s and page titles targeting the service and service area. Um, Now, the other question that comes into play is, well, how do LLMs like ChatGPT or Google AI Overviews, or even just like AI mode, how does that affect local recommendations? And I think there's a lot that's being theorized right now because there isn't a lot of like studies on it that actually prove what does and doesn't work. I've seen a lot of people say that marking the site up with schema is a big factor in LLM recommendations. But I just don't believe that, and I don't buy it. I also don't buy it if it affects rank as well. So what we're currently doing is we're conducting a really large scale test to see if schema does in fact play a role in how a brand is recommended in LLMs, as well as if it affects their rank. So as far as like to answer your question directly on like what people be paying attention to, the biggest things for local SEO, I think, are going to be local brand recognition. So it's going to be, is your brand getting mentioned locally in the target area that you want? Is it being mentioned on other websites? Is it being mentioned on social media? Is it just being mentioned? Do people know of your brand? Are they searching for your brand? Uh, and I think the more dials that I think Google can take away from SEOs, um, the better the results are going to end up being. Because what SEOs end up doing is they put all these things into a checklist, and they just say, okay, well, I just got to optimize these and do these things. But then once everybody is doing that, then there's going to be no way for Google to tell who the best result actually is. So you've got to start taking signals from things that aren't as manipulatable.
Okay, Jake. I usually don't listen to gurus because I have a lot of gurus who can teach me on my email, on LinkedIn, send me messages. On your t-shirt, I can read, "You're not guru, but I want to learn from you." So for someone who can listen to this podcast, Jake has this sign on t-shirt, "I'm not a guru." But it means, I see when people can think they know everything, they have a big trouble, a lot of trouble, because it's impossible to know everything. What I can see, if I learn more, I understand. I understand almost nothing, So because SEO is huge, many things are changing fast, and only one thing that I can understand: we need to become better than competitors. So nobody can understand all this complex algorithm. It's impossible. You can't tell that you know exactly how it works, but the one thing that you can do just to become better than your competitors. So if you can pay attention to specific topic, you can get results. Jack, you mentioned about local links. I want to ask more about that. I mean, like, for many years we've learned about skyscraper technique, broken link building, many great white hat techniques. Brian Dean taught them, but the last time what I can see, the impact is really low. So many studies can show that it's very important to pay attention to fresh links like PR or guest posts, but from new pages and authoritative websites that have loyal audience. It's not like to publish a lot of guest posts at scale from non-recognizable websites, but in local SEO is different. So it's not like to use white hat SEO or PR. Probably PR, yeah. No, I think we can use PR as well. So can you tell your methods how to acquire these links?
Yeah, so we haven't found local links to be that impactful in terms of rank. And maybe other people have in their industry. It's why we don't prioritize it in our base SEO package. We've done like the local PR links with local newspapers. We've signed clients up for local chambers of commerce. We've reached out to partnership brands that are local to our clients and gotten links that way. And we just hadn't seen measurable impact in local links. And it could be different. We could have a topical links instead. So instead of getting a local link for a landscaper, we get them a link in like Landscaping Business Magazine or something like that. And maybe that might have more impact. But as far as local links go, we just haven't seen the impact that we thought we would see from a local link perspective. So, however, you mentioned PR, and I think like regarding LLMs, I from the word on the street is I hear that LLMs are considering more or PR and like those kind of like those press releases and chamber of commerce type stuff in regards to the recommendations, and they're using those more often. And that could be the case. I just haven't tested that yet. But at the same time, I really don't care that much right now because it's still in its infancy. I think LLMs only account for like 5% of the search market anyways. And so like I would rather still focus on Google and do the things that Google wants because that's what the volume is. I know there's like a debate between geo and SEO and like the different types of acronyms and things like that. I don't buy into the different type of acronyms. I don't think there needs to be a geo. I don't think it needs to be an AIO or AEO or whatever. At the end of the day, it's still search and it's still an engine and it's still optimizing for that search. The way that people are searching are different. They're using different tools, but it's no different than the algorithm that Bing uses versus the algorithm that Google uses. They're just a different thing. So ChatGPT, just think of that as like Bing or Google, and it's just a different way people search, and it's sourcing this information differently. There doesn't need to be a different terminology for it. There just has to be understanding that specific tool and how it gets results, and then optimizing for that.
Yeah, I think like according to data that we have, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, all of them, they usually use similar method that Google created for many years ago. I mean, like the same brand recognition, the same authority, the same freshness content, many things. So, but probably the impact is different, and choosing the right resources are different, but because of the impact of different factors. Jake, I want to ask about something that many experts said 2-3 years ago, that AI can't compete, especially AI writing, can't compete with human beings. It's impossible. Its quality is low. I remember when ChatGPT was released, probably plus 90% of all experts said, no, AI just hallucinate data, can generate some wrong insights, the quality is low. But after many updates, I remember that was the version 3.5. Today we have 5.2, ChatGPT, Gemini 3.0. The amazing model, amazing. I love Claude, Sonnet 4.5, all of them. They are really, really great models. I play a lot with them. And the last time when I speak with many great speakers on this podcast, who can say me, no, AI can write much better than them, much better. Well-known speakers, journalists, bloggers, writers who have great experience, and they can admit, no, it's impossible to compete with this tool because AI can write in 1,000 different styles, languages, anything like that. So, Jay, can you tell about AI generation content for local SEO? Do you think it's a good idea to use it? And if it's yes, then how to use it?
Yeah, I think it's good to use it for ideation and like helping you figure out what you want to write about, or maybe formulating certain things. Like maybe you need to write like 4 paragraphs, and you just say, hey, I want to write 4 paragraphs about this, and it gives you that output. I would still rather put it in the brand's voice and or my own voice. What I don't like, so there's a couple.
But AI can replicate your voice.
Yeah, and like if you can get it to where it's not detectable by AI detection softwares, I would love that. And let me explain. So, Joy Hawkins, she's owner of Sterling Sky. She messaged me a little bit ago on Reddit and asked me if I had seen any ranking drops for our local business sites in December, and I hadn't, because there's a December core update. What she was finding is a strong correlation between ranking drops and AI written content. And there's tools out there, like one of the favorite ones that I like using is originality.ai, where it can detect whether content was written by AI or not. And like there's some speculation as to whether or not how accurate that is. But whenever I generate any AI written content, no matter how customized the prompt is, and I give it to Originality, it'll say with confidence how AI written that is, or how original that content is. And whenever I write something that is my own directly, or like just completely from zero, and I feed it into Originality, it's 100% confident that it's not AI. But whenever I give it a prompt, or if I give it AI written content, I remove all the M dashes. I remove some of the other AI things, and I pump it in there. It's always like 90 to 100% confident it's AI. So the theory is, or my theory is, if Originality can do this, or other third party tools can do this, it's a high likelihood that Google can also detect AI written content. And when I think about this, I don't necessarily think that Google has a bias against AI content. I think what the implications of AI content is, and the implications are, if everybody has access to produce an unlimited amount of content in an extremely small amount of time, millions of posts a day, just with AI just pumping it out, Google has to make decisions on what to index and what not to index, because indexing things and crawling sites costs Google money. That is storage, that is data, that is infrastructure is required to do that. And so if all these people are pumping out all this content all the time, there has to be limitations on what Google is willing to crawl. And obviously, like they're gonna use things like quality raters, and like that quality control is usually based off of some kind of authority type, like page authority or like relevancy or things like that. And you can accomplish that with AI writing. But I'm wondering at what point Google is just going to say no more AI. Like, I don't like this anymore. It's too much. No matter how good it is, it should be good and original. And Google's stance on AI has kind of flip flopped AI content. It's like they don't like spam content, and if you're doing what I just explained, that's spam. But they say you can use AI to create meaningful and helpful content. But what does that mean? Is that just like generating content and then like rearranging it so it's actually more impactful with your own human touch, or is it creating like a massive prompt to generate a really meaningful piece of content? And like frankly, I don't know, but I'm a writer, so like I don't have to rely on AI to write my stuff. I can do this all on my own, and whenever I do, it gets indexed super fast and it ranks really well. So that's just my thoughts on AI content.
Okay. Jake, what I like in digital marketing, so everyone has different opinion. I have my opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong. Something can work for me, but from my vision, what I can see, in my cases, AI generated content usually provides better results than human written content. So we tested a lot, and I got a lot of views, even including social media, including SEO position. So we use a lot AI. I never disallow my team to use AI, because if they can use AI in smart way, so to get the right input. And you mentioned about this M dashes. Even Bill Gates can post content with M dashes. I check out his post on LinkedIn, so he uses a lot M dashes. So and I get a lot results with them because AI. But I agree with you. I mean, like when you love writing, of course, when you pay attention to that to improve the skills, so yeah, you can feel it much better. You don't need AI for that. So I know many great writers who love this job. So yeah, they don't need AI. But for many terrible writers who don't have this great skills, because it takes time to craft the skills. You need to write every single day a lot to improve the skills, to become an expert. It's not like just to ask ChatGPT and get great results. But what I can see today, for example, I cooperate with some big companies in the accounting niche, and when I create with them content, many of them don't have writing background. So basically, they know everything about accounting, plus 20 years of experience. They work with Fortune 500 companies, but they don't know how to write. They just generate some useless, boring stuff. And of course, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So what you can see today, AI-generated content can work great in two cases. First, you need to know how to write. If you know how to write, I think you can generate great content. And second, you need to know the topic. So basically, I know about SEO, digital marketing, I can do it. But about weight loss, finance, I can't, because I just generate some useless stuff. It's not my topic. You need to understand what kind of questions to ask, to write prompts. And yeah, I use a lot. I'm not against that. I think it's the future, but it's my opinion about that.
Yeah,
So,
you said a few things in there. So like the one thing that I've always kind of held the belief of is like, if you get good at prompting to write really good and quality content, why don't you just write the content? Like it's the same amount of effort to get good at writing prompts versus getting good at just writing.
no.
And the other thing like I mentioned is like, again, I use AI to help me write. Like I'll give it be like, hey, I want, like, I'm trying to word this better, and it'll word it, but then I will be like, that sounds too AI, doesn't sound like me. And then like I'll rewrite it a little bit. And then with M dashes too, like I used M dashes before ChatGPT came out. Like I use those all the time in writing. I don't anymore because I don't want people to assume what I'm writing is AI. I think what's going to happen over time is people are going to get AI content fatigue. they're just going to say like, I'm so tired of reading this. And as soon as they read it, they're going to get turned off, especially customers. And so like manipulating the content strategy, if you're using AI to sound more human and look more human to the consumer. And then the last thing is you were like, it's a really great tool if you're bad at writing, because then it like kind of like raises everybody up. And I've said this since it came out in 2022 to the public, was that it's AI is not going to push writers out of the market. If anything, it's going to level the playing field for everybody, and everybody's going to be able to level up. And there should be no more bad content out on the internet anymore, because this is like the base level. But if that becomes the base level, that is the new bad content, because all the good stuff will be now like customized and written by actual writers or people who have their own personality and soul put into it. Now we're getting into something that's not objective, right? These are subjective concepts. The other thing is like when AI writes something, it is trained based off of information that exists in the past. It is not trained off of new concepts or new ideas or new strategies that can only come from your brain and seeing trends out there. So I've always, and this could change, I could be totally wrong on this, but I think that AI is never going to create anything groundbreaking. It's never going to do anything that breaks through the mold or like disrupts an industry with whatever strategy it spits out. It's gonna use past strategies to create new ones. And if you're trying to be on the cutting edge of something, or if you're trying to break through the noise and be an industry disruptor, I think using AI is actually going to hold you back.
Jake, I can't agree with that, but it doesn't mean, again, as I said before, so I can be wrong. For example,
you don't have to agree with it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know,
I usually use what works for me. And basically, for example, and I'm terrible forecaster, because I remember when 10 years ago, one of my friends came to me and asked, "Do you want to buy Bitcoin? You know, it's like future money." I denied. No, what is it? I don't want it. So, and he told me, just take 1,000 Bitcoins. It's almost nothing, like, or 100 Bitcoins. I denied all of them. Because I didn't know what is it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was terrible to forecast American president. I thought like Trump didn't have any chance, but we can see the story is different. So for me, when I still forecast a lot, but it doesn't mean that I can see the future. I usually adapt to whatever happens, because I can't create ChatGPT, I can't create Google, but I can use these technologies to adapt in my strategies. And but my forecast, I don't see any chance for writers against AI. So it's my prediction. I think like any humans can become operators. Operators when they can use AI to create, to write, to generate any stuff. And of course, good operators will be someone who can make their hands dirty to write a lot. So if they write a lot, then they can ask right questions. If they pay attention to specific topic, they can become experts. And AI is a great tool, but it's a machine, and machine still needs a driver. So yeah, we'll see. Because today what you can see, for example, we started to use AI generated videos, and we get plus 1 million views weekly on these videos, you know. And according to data, 76% of all humans follow at least one AI influencer. So, for example, I like to watch videos about history on YouTube, AI generated. My brother can listen to podcasts, AI generated. So, if it's value, you know, I don't think that most people know what M dashes mean. Most people don't know. They know the value about this text.
Yeah. The 76% study is it's funny when I hear things like that, because like 76% of people follow at least one AI influencer. It's like, yeah, but they follow 10 other normal influencers. So it's like, what does that actually mean in terms of like originality and AI? And that's just the stuff that we don't hear either.
Yeah, nice. Okay, Jake, let's get back to local SEO. So I want to ask about traditional metrics. For example, we use for a long time blog writing. Probably in 2008, I started to write content, and to be honest, that was the most terrible content ever. But Google ranked well. Google ranked well because competition was low. And it's not because we cheated the algorithm. We cheated a little bit because we didn't know how to create great content. We bought backlinks at that time. But when Penguin and Panda were released, I mean, like these tools changed everything in our strategy. We started to cooperate with copywriters for a long time, and we did it before 2019. Then EAT, later EEAT, Experience Expert Authority Trust, was released, and this model can recognize real experience and trust from this very important parameters. But today I'm not sure about this block strategy anymore. So can you tell your vision about that? So basically we wrote a bunch of articles, how to and guides, tutorials. But if AI, like Google AI Mode, AI Overview can reply to these questions, people don't need to click to analyze to get more data. Do you think it's still a good idea to write today? Okay, today it brings a lot of traffic as well. But what do you think about the future? Do you think it's still a good idea to write a lot of blog articles for getting this traffic and lead people in the sales funnel?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, because it's still authority. Like, and how AI is still using their own method of authority, and their own method of authority has less to do with links and more to do with like brand mentions. For just from what I've seen, I think eventually, like, they're going to take into consideration links. They're going to take into consideration all the things that Google has spent 20 years plus doing. They've been in this game for so long. They know how to field really good results. And with Google's Gemini, like, they can source all of their own algorithm for traditional ranking within AI overviews as well. So I think the broader kind of topical strategy of building authority with multiple types of content, it's going to serve as multiple purposes. So one, it's going to be something for other people to reference. So like Evergrow Marketing, like we publish our industry benchmarks for all of our landscaping and lawn care clients. I can create that article, and then someone might reference it on Reddit and might say like, hey, Evergrow Marketing actually wrote this article. It's like, that's a brand mention next to the thing that we wrote about. And so that content strategy is still applicable. The other thing is an actual content strategy from a social perspective of being like, well, if I'm going to continue writing this content that's impactful, it should be what people want to read. And then you push it out on social to get more people to your website, to develop more brand recognition. And so whenever anybody wants to reference a good piece of useful content, they pull it up or they recommend it or do whatever. And then by creating all this content, hopefully it gets picked up by other publications, or you start pitching variations of that to other publications. So my industry's benchmark thing, we did we aggregated all of our Google Ads results from 2025, and we separated the aggregate results by service. So we had like landscaping service, lawn care service, tree services, things like that. And we were like, these are the average Google Ads metrics, the average cost per lead, the average everything. And we broke that all out in that article. And then I went to publications that matched those services. So I went to a tree service magazine. I went to a pest control magazine. I went to a lawn care magazine, business magazine. And I showed them this article, this whole thing that I published. And I was like, hey, there's a section here specifically on tree services. I think it'd be really good if I could expand on this in your publication, kind of like as a guest writer. And then what I'm doing is I'm using my own content to then supplement content on publications and other sources that also have my audience. But while I'm getting that in front of that audience, I am also using their authority to kind of push our authority as well. So I think the strategy that will probably change is going to be, and it kind of already is this, but instead of just publishing tons and tons of content to rank for tons and tons of keywords, I think it's going to be, is the content you're writing impactful? Is this what people want, versus establishing a sole topical authority on some random keyword that might help you in one of your sales or service keywords?
Mm-hmm. You mentioned about keywords a few times. Yeah, I mean, like the last time I can see two different opinions about that. So even before AI, many experts started to search more for topics, not keywords. But today I see more and more experts started to pay attention to topical research, not keyword research. And what we can see today, people on Google started to ask more long questions, because before AI revolution, let's call it like that, many people couldn't ask long questions because Google couldn't recognize all these questions. That is why keyword research was like replacement. But today, if you ask long questions, Google AI mode can reply fast to any questions, become more specific about that. So what do you think about keyword research today? Is it still important, or we can use topical research?
Well, like I said, like Google search itself is still over 90% of the search market. So keyword research still matters a lot because that is still based off of that. AI overviews, however, take things more topically and granularly. And so its topical authority has been and will continue to be a main driving factor in whether you're recommended or whether you're ranked. Keywords are still going to matter because, like, even if you ask a question and your question in the AI uses an exact keyword or like an exact phrase that another website has with content associated to it versus a similar phrase that means the same thing, like you would still kind of want the exact one. That makes more sense to do that. Now, because these longer questions are probably a string of words that have never actually been put down on a website before, you're probably not going to get those exact matches as frequently. But keywords still matter. And if you don't think so, change your page titles and your H1s by one keyword, and then you'll see your rankings in search totally change. As far as LLM goes, I would still pay attention to the query fanouts and still like recognize what they're searching in those query fanouts, because it's not the search or the things that people are typing into LLMs that is important. It is what the LLMs decide to query after what is typed into the LLMs.
Yeah. Jake, I have a few more questions, very important questions for my audience, especially you mentioned about this meta tag title, and that was a direct factor for a long time. I think it's very important, still very important, because Google said that, Bing also highlighted the importance of writing meta tag title, but according to some data, some experts can say you don't need to write descriptions. I know a few experts who never write descriptions. Some of them even recommend to others.
You mean meta descriptions?
Yeah, meta tag description. Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. So in your opinion, do we need to write meta tag description for local SEO? Because Google can replace in 70% of all events this description to some text on the text, some part of the text on the page. So yeah, your opinion about that?
Yeah, so I think you've always needed to write meta descriptions regardless of whether you think it's a ranking signal or not, because it's definitely been long believed, and it's in the API leaks and it's in the DOJ case, but like click-through rate and people engaging with your actual ad, or not your ad, but your organic listing, is a factor determining your overall rank. So that meta description should be engaging enough to get that person to click onto that listing to then indirectly improve your rankings. The keywords and stuff in that meta description aren't a ranking signal on its own, but your meta description should be tailored to get that click. Yes, Google can replace the meta description. Google can replace your page title as well. But I would rather have that written than not, and let Google decide what it is based on the content on the page. Now, there's actually a really strong case for using meta descriptions and optimizing meta descriptions for LLMs. There was Rand Fishkin, I think on the SparkToro YouTube page, a few days ago. He had Michael King from iPullRank on it, and they did this like really big LLM study. They found like there's only a 19% overlap between Google search results and AI recommendations between like the same query. So what they also found was that meta descriptions are 100% used in determining how the LLM recommends a brand. So if you want to show up in LLMs, I strongly recommend writing your own meta descriptions.
Yeah, got it. Before I ask a new question, I want to share something on my screen for listeners who can listen to this podcast. I will explain what I'm going to do. So basically, I use our website audit on miss.com to analyze your website, evergrowmarketing.com. I just want to show something, and for me, it's important to understand your feedback about that. So basically, I decided to choose this article that was written probably in 2025. Let me click content. So in website audit.
So that's the one that was actually published on Saturday.
Yeah, wow.
So it's our benchmarks for 2025, but I wrote it. I published it on the 24th, I think.
By the way, some experts recommend don't use year in URL. So I see.
I don't care what they say. Like this isn't like who cares? Like we do this every year, so like it's gonna be its own. Like this is for 2025.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Okay. So, Jake, I have the question to you about the length of meta tag description and title, because I mean, like Google never shares the real exact of this meta tags. Some studies can show it's like for title it's like 600 pixels or around 60 symbols. According to meta tag descriptions, like 160 symbols. But I analyzed a few big websites, including Amazon, including many other big websites, and what I found, they use real long descriptions and titles. For example, Amazon can submit like 200 characters in title and around 500 characters in description in many pages. So Google can cut, Google can show all this length, but some data and experts can say that if you use long descriptions, you can explain better about user intent. Probably Joy Hawkins said about that. I don't remember exactly who, actually, probably she. But what do you think about that? Just your opinion.
Using longer descriptions?
Yeah, long descriptions and titles.
I haven't put a lot of thought into it, to be honest. Like, I think you can if you care more about LLMs than you do Google search results. And I think maybe that time will come, but I don't care more about LLMs than Google search results right now because it's, again, people are, Michael King had a really good, again, I'm reference this Michael King video on Rand Fishkin's channel, but he talked about how like LLMs should be used. LLMs should not be used as a conversion source. It shouldn't be used as a way to get leads or get traffic. It should be used as a branding tool to get recommended in that brand, because when people eventually go a step further down that funnel, then they just go to a traditional search and then they look at the brand from that perspective. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if I totally buy it, but I thought it was a unique perspective to look at the difference between an LLM versus how people use actual search. So as far as like long titles and long meta descriptions, I would rather have it long enough to not be truncated in search results. But if you go any longer than that, what's happening with this long page title, this long meta description that I think you're talking about, and what the experts are saying is it's just the LLM version of keyword stuffing. It's something that happened to Google in 2008 and earlier, and even up to 2015, and then it stopped. And I think eventually that is also going to stop in LLMs because people are going to catch on to these checklist things that I referenced at the beginning of the episode. But once you start checklisting SEO, then everybody's on the same level, and then the LLM has no idea what to recommend anymore. So you got to start pulling these things out of the recommendation.
Yeah. Jake, I need to ask you about if AI can replace humans. I think like all people have different opinions, but what we can see in 2025, big tech companies in the US laid off 65,000 people. Today we have a new breaking news. Amazon laid off 60,000 people because of AI. So Amazon can share a different opinion, but we analyze this release about this news, and we can see that AI can replace a lot of people. So, and it's really tough to join a company like Amazon or Google or any other companies without having great skills. So you need to become very smart, to go to join these companies, but AI can replace them. So my main question about the audience, especially someone who can join this niche. I know some newcomers, beginners who have no experience, don't know what to do, but they want to join. And I remember for many years, companies use interns to replace some boring manual job, to give this task to them. Interns school to acquire experience and become experts in one day. But today it's tough for them because AI agents can replace them. So can you recommend for newcomers what to do today, how to get these jobs?
To get sorry, what jobs?
I mean, like, for example, someone who want join SEO to become an expert in one day, to work on this niche, but nobody wants to hire. I mean, like, SEO agencies, companies are looking for AI agents who can replace this interns.
Yeah.
Your input to that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're going to have to learn AI. I mean, you're going to have to learn how the practical application of it. But I think more importantly, knowing strategy is going to be the most important thing, not just like execution. So when I say strategy, I mean things that are actually effective, based on your own research. Because I know right now, if you're in AI and you ask what local SEO techniques you can do, it's going to say geotag images, and I proved that wrong in search engine land. So like AI is trained off the data that's already out there and what people are saying, especially in this industry. There's truths and there's lies to everything. So you have to know, like, you can't. It's really tough too, because when people ask me how they should learn SEO, it's a really tough thing to answer, because you're going to get different information based on who you listen to, and what you should be paying attention to are the real, like, actual case studies with controlled environments. And the problem is there aren't a lot of those. And the ones that do have controlled environments, the sample size is so small that you really can't take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, got it. Jake, my final question. So basically, what I did, I use AI to rewrite your article. It's not like to rewrite text. I use AI to redesign all your article in user-friendly. So you saw I did it in our podcast. I didn't make any manual touch on that. So basically, I have fresh data. I have fresh insights in user-friendly design. So I can scroll more and more. So by the way, I didn't read the
did it rewrite the text, or did it just format it better?
Everything in HTML, it's text. You can just post. I mean, like, so the last time what we can see, many studies can recommend that it's important to have fresh content. So AI search can prefer fresh content. So basically, if your content is obsolete, AI can ignore you. So ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google, and I mean, like, it's a big issue today to update content. Even on my website, I don't have time to update this old content that I wrote like many years ago. I mean, like, today AI can learn your old article, refresh data, update, and put everything in user-friendly design. So with design, with infographics, with all insights. So I did it like in 5 minutes. So I just want to learn your feedback. What do you think about that?
I like the layout looks nicer. I'll say that. I was glancing at some of the text and I was like, I changed a couple of things in there, but
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
you can manually edit. But I mean, like,
yeah, I like the idea of like using AI to clean things up, which is what you did here. Like, I really like that a lot. I do think this does look nicer and prettier than what we did. I wrote this entire article. It's like 4,200 words, I think. I wrote this at a laundromat.
Oh yeah, I see. So, and you can see, I mean, like, AI can, I mean, what I like AI, I use AI for editing and translation. So if I write manually, I just put to AI and tell, okay, don't change my thoughts, don't change everything, just make it more readable, interesting to read, not boring, anything like that. It works. So, but the last time what we started to use, we use AI to even to create this design. So basically, you need to just copy this HTML code to put to WordPress or any other CMS, and that's it. So you can update the entire content, and it takes like 5 minutes to update content, because before that, we used copywriters, designers, content managers, sometimes developers. But even with that, what we found, I use this code. For example, I check on PageSpeed Insights, and we got less than 1 second of loading. 1 second of loading from PageSpeed Insights. So it's very clean code with great design. So yeah.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, I like the layout of this. This is pretty cool.
Okay, so Jake, if you have time, you can leave review of my tool. I will put to my homepage because I'm collecting reviews from real gurus. You're not guru, but
well, not a real guru if you can't read the shirt.
Yeah, I usually put reviews from someone who can teach me. I mean, like I like to learn a lot. And Jake, I enjoyed this episode. Very useful for me, very valuable for my audience. Please tell the best way how to keep learning from you, how to reach out to you, how to follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach out to me a lot of ways. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Reddit r/agency is our subreddit. About 80,000 agency owners in there. And then check us out on the Agency Growth podcast, where we talk all things agencies, not just SEO agencies, but all kinds of agencies. But yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, guys, you can find the links in the description below. If you want to cooperate with Jack, just let him know that he found about him on this podcast. It will be available for us. Jack, it's very important to learn from you. You welcome back anytime to bring more valuable bombs. You know how to do it. So, yeah, I think like our industry is growing fast, and if we can bring new news, will be great for anyone. Okay, guys, love you. See you.